Hello, everyone. I am Rachel. I'm the youngest in a family of 5, 10 years younger than my older siblings, a gap big enough to mean no shared toys, no shared memories, not even the same stages of life. When I was learning the alphabet, they were learning to drive. When I hit puberty, they were planning their weddings. I was the oops baby. No one ever said it out loud. But growing up, I always wondered, if I hadn't come into this world by accident, would my family have been happier? I don't remember anyone being excited about my arrival. There was no, "we can't wait to meet you" story like in the movies, no photo albums filled with baby milestones, no special chair at the dinner table. Everything I had once belonged to someone else. Hand-me-down clothes, a second-hand stroller, and the bedroom that used to be a storage room. My siblings were too busy with their own lives. And my parents, they just seemed too tired to start over again. I didn't blame them, at least not when I was little. Back then I just felt sad. I grew up like a shadow in the house. Nobody hated me, but nobody really saw me either. My birthday always seemed to land on a holiday, when everyone had plans that couldn't be moved. When I brought home an award from school, I handed it to Mom. She nodded, said, "Put it on the table," and went back to cleaning. I learned not to interrupt, not to ask for things, not to hope too much. The less I expected, the less it hurt. I spent a lot of time alone. At first, I thought I was just introverted, but now I think maybe I just never felt wanted. One time, I had a high fever. Mum said, "It's probably from sleeping with the fan on too much," and went back to watching TV. Another time, I was bullied at school. Dad said, "Don't be so soft. You're the youngest daughter, not some princess." I used to think I was just too emotional, too needy for affection, too sensitive. But then I grew up. I met people who got hugs when they cried, whose parents picked them up when it rained, who were asked, "Are you okay?" even when nothing was really wrong. And I realized the things I thought were luxuries were just basic for everyone else. I didn't scream, I didn't rebel, I didn't blame anyone. I just folded inward, slowly, like a leaf curling in on itself in winter. And over time, I got so used to the silence, I forgot how to speak when someone actually wanted to hear me. I used to think I was just unlucky, not unwanted, not forgotten, just a little less fortunate. The first time I truly wanted my family to be there was when I turned 16. My sweet 16, the age everyone says is a milestone for girls. My best friend's birthday was 2 days after mine, so her parents threw a little backyard party for both of us. The invitations had both our names. My whole family was invited: parents, siblings, nieces, nephews, everyone. I remember how excited I was when I folded that invitation and placed it on the dinner table with this shy little smile. No one responded. No one said, "We'll try to come," or "Let's check our calendar." They just moved on, like the invitation didn't exist. I asked Mum a few days before the party. She said, "Your dad and I have plans. Maybe your siblings can make it." They didn't. Everyone had something: work trips, babysitting duties, important meetings. The party was beautiful. Lights, music, cake, friends laughing. But I kept glancing at the gate every 5 minutes, then forcing myself to smile, pretending the tightness in my chest was just nothing. When I turned 18, I tried again. No party, just a dinner. Just one evening with my family, like the ones I saw other people post about. I chose a restaurant near home, made a reservation, texted everyone, politely and personally. Mom said Dad had a doctor's appointment. Later, I found out there wasn't one. My brother said he had a shift. My sister messaged, "I can't bring the baby out this week." No one asked, "Can we reschedule?" No one said, "Let's make it up to you." I went to the restaurant anyway, sat at the table for 6, alone. The server asked if I wanted to move to a smaller table. I smiled and said no. I ate my meal, no dessert, and as I left the restaurant, I told myself, everyone's just busy. But deep down, I knew that was a lie I told to keep myself from breaking. I thought, maybe, just maybe, high school graduation would be different. I sent out invitations, walked the stage, looked out into the crowd. Other kids had moms with flowers, dads filming with their phones. My row of seats was empty. Mom had a dentist appointment. Dad said his back hurt. My sister couldn't bring her kid. My brother never replied. By the time college graduation came around, I didn't send invites. I just taped mine to the fridge. No one asked about it. I started feeling like I was a scheduling conflict, an inconvenience, a name they didn't know where to fit into their plans. I didn't blame them right away. I kept trying to see the good. They're busy. They don't hate me. But then I noticed things. My brother showed up to a friend's baby shower. Mom cooked and delivered meals to an aunt who was sick. Dad made time to go watch soccer with coworkers. And me, I kept hearing, "You understand, right?" And I did. I understood that love, just like time, is something people make when they truly care. So I stopped hoping. Not because I became stronger, but because I got tired of waiting to be chosen. I stopped inviting, stopped announcing birthdays, stopped sharing achievements, stopped messaging the family group chat, "Hey, it's my birthday today." I went quiet, but not with sadness this time. This silence was not surrender, it was retreat. The kind of retreat that comes after too many times of showing up to your own moments and only seeing empty chairs. I started therapy the week I turned 25. It was after a minor panic attack in the middle of a crowded coffee shop, triggered by something as simple as hearing someone casually mention a family party they were invited to. I smiled politely, nodded, but my chest tightened, not out of jealous, but because that old question surfaced again. Have I ever been invited anywhere like that? My first therapist was a middle-aged woman with gentle eyes and a soft voice. She didn't say much, she just listened. And somehow, her silence made me cry within the first 3 minutes of sitting down. I talked, in no particular order, about birthday dinners when no one showed, about messages left on read, about the times I called and hung up halfway through, because I felt like I was bothering them. She said something quietly, almost like a passing thought, but it stayed with me for months. Maybe, you've just never been treated like you're important. I didn't nod. I couldn't deny it either. I started journaling, doing emotional exercises, sending myself emails every week, just like she told me to. But there was still one thing I couldn't bring myself to do: let go of my family. Not because I didn't know the truth, but because I didn't want it to be true. I wanted to believe they loved me, just not at the right time. That they cared, just didn't know how to show it. That they'd come around, just running late, maybe this time. My second therapist offered a different strategy. Keep the door open. Give them a chance to return. So I did. I began texting my mom every week. Simple things. "Sleep well, Mom," or "How are you feeling today?" She rarely replied, but I kept sending them. I asked a friend to mail mooncakes to my family, with a handwritten card from me. My sister texted, "Thanks," then silence. I sent birthday flowers to my dad. He didn't respond. My mum texted 2 words, "Got them." I congratulated my niece on getting into college. No reply. I left a comment on a photo of my brother's family. No one liked it. I mailed Tet gifts. No one messaged back to say they'd received them. People say, give without expecting anything in return. I didn't expect hugs, didn't need a gift back. All I wanted was a small sign that I still existed in their lives. But as the months passed, I started to understand something. Some doors don't stay closed because someone's mad at you. They stay closed because no one's trying to come back through them. I brought this up with my new therapist after my first one retired due to illness, and for the first time, I felt uncomfortable. She told me to be patient, that family is the last thing you give up on, that we can't demand people to love us in the way we want. I stayed silent, because she wasn't wrong, but she couldn't see the frost. Sorry, I was busy. She couldn't feel the hollowness in, oh, someone else probably showed up instead. She didn't hear the silence that followed, maybe next time. A silence that never echoed with, let's reschedule. Once, I sent a group message inviting everyone to a small get-together to celebrate my promotion. No one responded. 3 days later, my mum messaged me privately. I thought that post was just for fun. I didn't know you were actually hosting something. I reread my message. It was clear. It had a time, an address. Nothing about it was a joke. The more I tried, the more I felt like that little kid standing outside a warm, crowded family gathering, watching through the window while everyone else had a seat at the table. Everyone except me. No one told me I couldn't come in, but no one opened the door either, and at some point, I stopped knowing who I was doing this for. Was it for them? For my therapist? Or for the version of me at 6 years old, blowing out birthday candles alone, glancing at the door, hoping someone might walk in? But now I'm 27, and I've finally learned, some people will never walk into your life, no matter how many times you open the door. That truth isn't meant to hurt. It's meant to free you. I used to think I was numb, that after all the birthdays missed, graduations skipped, unanswered invites and forgotten dinners, I no longer hoped, no longer hurt, no longer cared. But then, I got engaged, and everything I thought I had buried came bleeding back. My fiancé, now my husband-to-be, was the first person who didn't look away from all of it. He didn't say things like, but they're still your family, or, don't take it personally, they love you in their own way. He just listened, and after I told him everything, every forgotten event, every hollow apology, he looked me in the eyes and said, you don't have to invite anyone, but if you want to try one last time, I'll be right beside you for all of it. I sat with that thought for a long time, inviting my family to the engagement party. One final effort, not to win them back, but to finally let them go, without guilt, without wondering, what if? If they didn't show up, I'd know for sure. I wrote the messages carefully, one by one. Not bitter, not dramatic. Just an invitation, simple, sincere. I included the date, time, location, and I wrote, you don't need to bring a gift, just your presence would mean a lot. And then, I waited. 1 week before the party, my mum replied, I have a checkup that evening, can't reschedule. My sister, urgent meeting that Friday. My brother, my wife's working a night shift. No one to watch the kids. The others never responded. On the day of the party, I still left an empty table, not because I hoped, but because I needed to look at that empty chair, one last time, and stop imagining someone might sit in it. The engagement party was beautiful. My friends came early, brought flowers, homemade cakes. His family welcomed me like one of their own. His mother hugged me tight. His father toasted us like I was his daughter. There was music, laughter, warm lights, and me. No longer turning around to see who was missing. After the party, he asked, do you want to send wedding invitations? I looked at him, and for the first time in years, I didn't hesitate. I shook my head. Number, I don't want to open that door ever again. We made the guest list. I crossed out my parents and siblings. No drama, no tears. Just, like pulling out a thorn that had been buried so long, I forgot it was hurting. But they found out anyway. A relative saw wedding photos online, and word spread. They all knew. The first message came from my mum. You had a wedding and didn't invite anyone from the family? I read that text over and over, not sure whether to laugh or cry. I'd sent dozens of invitations over nearly 30 years. They ignored them all, and now that there was no invite, they felt excluded. I sent only one reply. Only one. Because I knew everyone would be busy again. Then I powered off my phone and blocked every contact. I didn't wait for reactions, but I knew they'd talk, that someone would say I was heartless, ungrateful, cold-blooded to my own flesh and blood. But I also knew this. If I didn't draw the line now, I'd spend my entire life being the kid standing at the door, holding a birthday cake, waiting for people who would never come. I didn't want to step into marriage with one hand still holding open the past. I wanted both hands free, to hold the present, to hold someone who chose me. Not because they had to, not because it was expected, but because they wanted to, every day. On my wedding day, I walked down the aisle, in a white dress, holding my bouquet, not looking for who wasn't there, only looking forward to the one waiting for me, smiling. I used to dream of having my family beside me on the most important day of my life. Now I understand, the most important thing isn't who comes, it's that I finally had the strength to not need them anymore. I'm not ungrateful. I just chose to love myself. I used to believe that forgiveness was the most noble thing a child could offer. I used to believe that keeping the door open, keeping hope alive, staying in touch, was how you proved you were still the good one, still the understanding one. But now I've stopped trying to be a good daughter. I'm just trying to be good to myself. Someone once asked me, "Do you regret it?" Cutting ties right before your wedding? I don't regret it. Because if I hadn't done it, then even now, after stepping into marriage, building a home, preparing to be a mother, I'd still be that little girl dragging her wounds from door to door, asking for love in places that had already turned her away. I don't want my future child to see their mom waiting by the phone for calls that never come, wrapping up cakes and quietly eating them alone, writing birthday cards only to tuck them into drawers, unread. I want to be the kind of mother they can look at and say, "Mom chose herself, so I'll learn to choose me too." I no longer resent my parents, or my always busy, always polite, never present siblings. They've lived their lives, they've made their choices, they've set their priorities. I just wasn't one of them. And that hurts, but it's also true. Letting go doesn't mean erasing. I still remember every birthday with no one there. Still remember sitting in that restaurant, staring at 3 empty chairs. Still remember the waitress gently asking, "Do you want to wait a little longer?" and nodding, even though I knew no one was coming. I remember all of it, but I no longer let those memories define my worth. I lived too long as someone who was easy to forgive, so long that I forgot kindness needs boundaries, and self-respect needs room to breathe. When I said I wasn't inviting anyone from my family to the wedding, it wasn't war. It was a period. At the end of a sentence I'd been running after for years, I didn't want to chase anymore. Now, every morning I wake up and see the man I chose. The man who never left me alone on the days that mattered. The man who messaged me through every therapy session just to ask, "Are you okay?" I have a new family now, and I'm grateful for it every single day. But I'm also grateful for the girl I used to be. The one who sat quietly in front of 3 empty chairs. The one who sent 99 unread messages. The one who cried in a bathroom stall at her best friend's birthday because her parents never showed up. She got me here. Those old cracks in my heart taught me, if you want to be loved fully, sometimes, you have to walk away from the places that only ever made you feel half. I'm not ungrateful. I just stopped giving love to people who always held out empty hands. I'm not cold. I just learned how to keep myself warm when no one else brought warmth. I didn't cut off my family. I just stopped holding on to a rope that only I was still grasping. And the miracle is, when I let go, I didn't fall. I just came home to myself.